Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast. The Reds secured qualification for the Europa League knockout stages as group winners with a 4-0 win over LASK at Anfield. In an entertaining game, two from Cody Gakpo, a brilliant header from Diaz and a penalty from Mo were enough to see off a spirited Austrian side who once again gave a decent account of themselves. I'm Chris Smith and I'm delighted to be joined by the European Dream Team of John Brennan and the editor at liverpoolway.co.uk, Dave Usher. If the other lads think they're forcing their way back onto the pod for the glamour-ties, they've got another thing coming. Dave, a satisfying night that, after the disappointing loss in Toulouse, the lads looked right up for this from the off, and they got the job done with no fuss at all.
Yeah, it was a really good game, wasn't it? I mean, they had the chances as well. They had a good goal. I thought we played some lovely stuff. Should have scored more goals, really. Like, quite a few situations to make the most of. But, yeah, it's probably the most entertaining game of the group so far, I'd say. I enjoyed it. It was a good game.
Yep. And John, plenty to like about tonight, although perhaps the way they played through us at times was mildly concerning. But what stood out to you?
Yeah, that was a big concern in the way they got in behind us. But I just want to say, first of all, I was watching on French TV, obviously, and I knew it was going to be a good night because the channel it was on French TV was 316. And it's like 316 Austria. I just hope your LASK was my line. So yeah, really happy with that tonight. Obviously, as Dave said, 4 goals, clean sheet, and that makes it 10 out of 10 at home this season. 6 in the league, 6 wins in the league, 3 in Europe. Obviously, we've beaten Leicester as well in the League Cup. So yeah, really strong at Anfield, and just going to try to keep that 100% record at the weekend, hopefully against Fulham. But everything about tonight was perfect, wasn't it? Clean, as I said, clean sheet, 4 goals. You get to rotate, you get to keep players happy who are on the fringes. The big boys like Virgil, Virgil, Dom, Maka getting a complete rest, and then obviously Trent comes on, Curtis comes on, Mo gets an hour and a goal as well, and everybody's just been kept fresh for the weekend, and I think he's using this competition really well to rotate the squad and keep everybody fresh for what's going to be a really busy period coming up. So perfect night tonight.
The other result as well, that's gone perfectly for us. So,
Yeah.
because I didn't know until tonight that second in the group means you've got to go on a playoff.
Really?
Yeah, you don't go straight through.
Yeah, it
you
does,
have to go on
yeah.
a playoff with like a Champions League loser team.
That's
That's what it is, Dave. It's
We've
so
been going
if
against
we,
Man
if we
United.
had finished.
No, they're going to be
Yeah.
bottom, aren't they?
Oh, God, yeah.
Probably. The thing is, if we had finished second, we would have had these playoff games in February. But we're guaranteed to be first now, and actually, this means that we can put this competition to bed because the next game is a dead rubber basically. So we're not back in action in Europe until the 7th of March. Which
Nice.
is great. It means we have 3 whole months just being able to concentrate on the league, and obviously depends how we go in the League Cup and the FA Cup. So that was really important to finish top of the group. And what it does mean as well is that the game against Saint-Gilloise, which is coming up on the 14th of December, that's actually on the Thursday night, 3 days before the United game
Oh, nice.
at Anfield on the Sunday the 17th. So I imagine we'll just
Rest everyone.
rest as
Yeah.
many
Be a
as rest everybody
Pep
basically.
Blinders press conference job. Rest up
I
quite.
thought you,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you'd be playing centre midfield then.
No, that's fine by me though.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like I said to you in the
It
last
is-
one, I don't want like any of the big boys going after playing Kevin McAllister's Funhouse ahead of the game against United. Definitely can't.
It-
Yeah.
is Spearing registered for European games?
I don't think so. No, I don't think. Yeah, it's a shame because it would have been nice for him to get like one more first team game. He's been playing in all those like I don't know what it's called, the EFL Trophy or whatever. He's been playing in
Right.
them, and he played in the Lancashire Cup the other night. But like he's surrounded by just like kids, like 16, 17-year-olds, and
Yeah.
then
It just blows my mind.
and they're all bigger than him.
Of course.
Yeah, but the big thing tonight is just winning the group, and we have nothing to play for in the next game, and we can just concentrate on that United game on the 17th of December. So,
Yeah, that's definitely a game for Conor Bradley to get some minutes.
Yeah,
Luke
Doak
Chambers,
probably
Ben
as well.
Doak, McConnell, all of them, they should all play along with whoever's not going to start. So I don't mind some senior lads playing. So whoever's not going to be starting against United, then, a sprinkling of them in the team. So Harvey, probably not going to start. You don't mind, like, if he's playing, if depending on whether it's Curtis or Gravenberch who's going to be playing against United, the other one can play in that. But nobody who's playing needs to be involved at all. No one's playing against United needs to be involved in that. It's just not worth the risk.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't even take them on the plane. There's no point like them travelling or anything. Just leave them at home, putting their feet up.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds
Mind you,
good.
I don't think you can do that, can you? Just because you've only got so many players registered.
I think it's 25, is it?
so
Or
you can't
23 maybe.
You
So
can't leave like
they have to travel really.
12 of them, 13 of them at home, can you? I think they have to go and just sit on the bench, even though you're not going to put them on. Because otherwise, you're just not going to have a bench, are you?
No. At least it's only like Belgium and it's not like far flung arse end of Europe somewhere. I think we got quite lucky with that, with the way that the group was drawn as well. Like Austria, France and Belgium.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the places where we could have been going, it's actually worked out quite well for us. So
that's a
one
great
game
point,
later
Chris. And just
than go ahead, mate.
Yes, sorry, just to follow up on that. Belgium, it's a probably an hour on a plane, and it's one of those early kickoffs as well.
Yeah.
We kick off at 5:45 English time, so even they should be back and everything by midnight. So that would give them time to prepare for the United game, and a lot of them won't be playing anyway. So we should be able to really prepare that game the whole week. I think the game we have before that United game is Palace on the Saturday, so it gives us 8 days basically to prepare that United game. So we should be okay.
Just a quick point, just to clarify something I said there about not wanting anybody who's playing against United to play in that match. It's not in any way, shape or form because I feel like the United games, the result's in doubt. It's more because we got 7 last year and I want us to be like, right at it. Everyone right at it, and let's try and beat that. It's not because I think, if we play a few first teamers in Europe, we might come unstuck against United. No, that's not what I'm saying. No, not at all.
You're doing it for like pure spite reasons. That's why.
I just think they're like, every time I watch them, I'm like, these are shit. How are they getting the results that they're getting? Because they're shit. Even against Everton, they didn't play well. It's like, it's a game they could easily have lost. Everton had like more chances than them. They're just shit. But it feels
just
like
stop though. Like you're just setting us up for a fall.
No, I know. But just one quick point on that with United. Right. It feels like as shit as they are, it's only really getting shown in the Champions League. It's like they're getting away with it in the Premier League. Like the performances are like shit, but they're somehow getting results because they're 5th, aren't they? Something like that. Only like 4 points behind us or something bizarre like that.
They're the most informed team in the league. They won 5 of the last 6, and the only game they lost was against City.
But it's the Champions League where you see their true selves, where like the actual results are reflecting the performances. So
teams
it's going to catch up with them.
14 goals in 5 games they've conceded in the Champions League this year. So it's like, And
how many of them are the goalkeeper's fault?
I saw something like The Guardian had written an article on, finally Onana is finding his feet, and somebody retweeted and said, he just needs to find his fucking hands now then.
Yeah, they put that article out like the day of the game, and then he's responsible for 3 goals. But can you do that when they play at Anfield as well?
Nice. All right, where were we? Well, John, actually, there was one start I wanted from you to kick off the podcast tonight, and because the strikers got all 4 goals tonight, where are we at on the ratio of games played, goals for the front lads?
Funny you should ask. So we're up to 39 goals from the front five, obviously. Darwin, Cody, Diaz, Mo, and Diogo in 20 games, which is essentially 2 a game, which is unbelievable. And as I said, we're probably looking at something like a 55 to 60 game season. And if they keep going at this rate, the front five alone will be between 105 and 120 goals, which just leads me to believe we're going to be in contention at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And even in all round as the whole team, we've got 49 in our first 20 games, so we're averaging 2.5 goals a game, which is really back to kind of 2018, 2019 levels.
Nice.
Under Klopp. So, I mean, and we're tighter at the back than we've been in previous seasons as well. So I think everything is looking pretty tasty at the moment. So. 39 goals from the lads up front is really sensational stuff. We're not even in December yet, and I think we have in the next 23 days it's going to be really busy. We have 8 games coming up, so you could easily be looking at over 50 goals by the turn of the year from the front five, which is really
Nice.
Impressive.
Because Darwin's not even got warmed up yet. Once the goals start flowing for him, that ratio's going to go up.
He's not pulling his weight, is he? It's 5 games without a goal for him now.
It doesn't feel like it though. I suppose because of the Uruguay goals and that as well.
Yeah.
And, I'm not worried about that, but I do think like he's going to explode in the new year.
Right. Well, you said he was going to fill his boots in the Europa League, and he hasn't. So
yeah, but he's not been starting all the games, and then you're coming on. No one's really filled the boots after. Jota was like probably so what do they have? 3, 4?
Yeah, Gakpo's got 6 in his last 7 starts now.
Mm.
So
I
think
he
was brilliant tonight. By the way,
he was really good tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah. Do you think he comes into contention for the weekend again now, starting, or do you think it'll be Diaz and Mo and Darwin? Obviously, we'll get onto the weekend later, but
he actually looked good on the left tonight. When Darwin came on and he went on the left, I don't really like him there, but I did think he looked good there. You can say it's the level of opposition, but I don't really buy into that too much because these games are not as easy as they should be. We've seen that in all the other matches, so you can't just like when they play really well say, oh well, it was only this team, when we've not played that well in the other matches. So you just got to judge it on its own merits. And I thought he looked really good tonight, centre forward, and he looked really good on the left. But then Diaz has got a goal tonight as well. Thought he played okay. I didn't think he blew the doors off or anything, but like he played all right. Yeah. His form's been a little bit of a concern, and obviously we know what he's been through, like with his dad and everything else. But his form was an issue like long before that. I thought he just kind of was masking it by contributing goals. Which,
I agree.
But in terms of how he was playing, he wasn't looking as good as he looked when he first arrived. Now, that's totally understandable because he was out for a long time, and like they often say with like those long injuries, it takes you the same amount of time again as like what you were out for. It takes you the same amount of time when you come back before you get fully back to what you were. So he's probably still just shaking off the effects of that. I don't know if I'd start him or whether I'd start Gakpo. I mean, I don't know. Because Diaz didn't start last weekend because Jota was available. There's no Jota now, so I think Diaz will probably get the nod, but you can make a case for Gakpo playing.
Yeah, I prefer Diaz coming off the bench than Gakpo coming off the bench, to be honest. If we needed something to change the game, I'd prefer it to be that way around. John, before we move on, I just have to reference one of my favourite most endearing traits of yours that I just fucking love, is that when you say the front five, you have to name them all when you do it. And I just thinking if you were to say say the top 10, you wouldn't say the top 10. You've got one, and then obviously 2. And then after that comes your man 3. I just fucking love it.
No, do you know what's even more endearing than that? Is that you can always tell who his favourites are because he's on a first name basis with them. See, Diaz got a Diaz, he didn't get a Lewis, so that tells me a lot, really.
Yeah,
definitely. And I still can't. I still can't stand anybody calling our left back Robbo.
You're the only person in the world who calls him Andy. Like, even his mum doesn't call him Andy. It's just you.
Well, she should.
Didn't he do the Andy Cole thing a little while ago, where he said he wanted to be known by Andrew?
Did he?
Did he?
Oh,
I thought so.
That's not good, though.
It's not good for you, JB.
Got to start calling him Andrew now. What Andy wants, Andy gets.
There you go, definitely. I mean, you even named your kid after him, dude, so
Yeah.
come on.
True.
If for anybody who
tell
doesn't
my
know,
man
John's son is called Andreas, and it was it was your wife's suggestion, wasn't it, mate? That
It was.
Yeah, so yeah.
But I was on board.
Of course you were. And have you used Andreas once in the 7 or 8 months the kid's been alive?
No, when I call him, I just say, "Oh, Andy."
Nice. All right, should we talk a bit about the game tonight then? We started really well, I thought. Harvey laid on a chance for Gakpo. It was a poor first touch from him, but a worse finish kind of blazed it over. If that was Darwin, Dave's right, everybody would have been fuming, but because it was Gakpo, everybody was just like, okay, that's fine. But a minute later, it didn't matter. We went 1-0 up, and a beautiful header from Diaz from a really nice Joe Gomez cross, Dave. Yeah. And to be fair to Diaz as well, he played the ball out to Gomez, so it's kind of like a 1-2 between them. And unstoppable header. And he's really sort of making those headers count these days.
Sneaky good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Good with his headers. Yeah, he scored he scored the header when he came off the bench against Luton. He's got a few for Colombia. That one as well there tonight. Yeah, he's good at just attacking the ball. It's not like one of the goals he scored for Colombia, he got up really high. It was a really good goal. But that tonight was just making a good run, attacking the ball, and then good header at the end of it. Joe Gomez had a really good game tonight as well. I think Joe Gomez is like on the quiet. He's having a really good season because he's not necessarily like first choice when everyone's fit. I think it's easy to like overlook how he's been playing, but I think he's been playing really well all season, and he was excellent tonight. I like him as a right back. And he's done well at centre back as well, but I like him as a right back.
He's not making mistakes every week either, is he?
No.
He's cut that out.
Yeah, Chris, absolutely. He kind of always had that mistake in him, didn't he? You know, he could be really good, but he'd make one big mistake and it would cost us. But he's eliminated that from his game this season. And just we mentioned before, we've played 20 games this season, and obviously Klopp has used the squad really well, and Gomez has played well, figured in 16 of those games, and it kind of backs up what Dave said. He's not a first choice, but circumstances have meant that he's been in there because of the European games. Trent was obviously out injured. Van Dijk was suspended after the Newcastle game, and he's had a really solid season. And whether it's, and as you said, Dave, whether it's that centre back or right back, he just gives us an extra option down that side now, which is really good. So yeah, he was great tonight, and he gets forward
He's
well.
good
And
at that now.
well, he is. And
show me any other centre half who plays right back as well as Joe Gomez has been playing when he's been called upon this season.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal might say Ben Shite. He had a good season at right back last year. Played there quite a bit. But
the clue's in the name there, though, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I totally agree, but I've been saying for a while I really like him at right back, and he's just added that attacking side of his game the last year or two. He's obviously worked on it, and he looks good going forward now. He doesn't look like a centre back playing right back. He actually just looks like a right back when he plays there now. And I said when Brownie was saying about buying a right back, I said, well, I'd rather if we wanted to move Trent in midfield, I'd rather look at Gomez there first rather than think about buying someone. Because who are you going to buy who's going to be better than what Joe Gomez has been giving us when he's played there? Especially if the reason why you're buying someone is because you want someone who's more solid defensively than Trent is. Well, you've already got that. We've already got that player there, and I think he deserves first crack at it. Because he's waited patiently for his chance. He signed a new contract, even though he wasn't like first choice in that. I'd like to see if that's what we choose to do, and I don't think it is what we'll do. I don't think Klopp's going to move Trent from that position. But, God forbid, Trent could get injured at the weekend and could be out for a few months, and then where would we be? Well, it would be Joe Gomez playing right back every week, and I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, and even if you play centre back, Dave, because we've seen that we can't rely on Konate in terms of fitness, and obviously Joel isn't getting any younger, so his role could be alongside Virgil as well as centre back.
Well, we know he's done that before, hasn't he? When he plays centre back, it's tended to be in place of Virgil, hasn't it? In the cup games when Virgil's rested, and he came in for like the games when he was suspended, so he's played like the left-sided centre back, whereas when he had his best run in the team was right-sided centre-back alongside Virgil in the title-winning season, and he was like phenomenal that year.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made for him and Virgil at centre-back as well, I guess. So
I still think it's, Konate, all things being equal, is probably first choice, but you can't rely on his fitness at the moment. Even like tonight, you knew it made sense that he's the one who you're going to take off because you've got to wrap him in cotton wool to some extent. Joel's been like the surprising one. I mean, I don't want to jinx him, but remember, like, he was injured all the time, and then the last 2 years or so, he's not really had many injuries at all. He seems to have been able to put that behind him, which is unusual because once a player's like that and he's constantly getting muscle injuries, that's usually just the way it stays. They don't usually figure that out, and but touch wood, Joel's managed to stay fit.
Thiago, isn't it?
Yeah, Thiago, Sturridge, Lallana, players like Keita. They're just, that's who they are, and you can't really fix it. But with Joel, they seem to have figured something out. Maybe it's just he's not playing as often. They're playing him once a week, rotating him with Konate. It's helped both of them.
I feel like we're okay as long as we don't get any batch injuries. We can afford one, maybe two of them to miss a couple of games, but you just don't want that situation that we had in the season after we won the league, where we had, Reece and what's his name?
What's his name? Don't disrespect Nat Phillips. What's his name? Outrageous slander.
It's just completely. Sorry, I've had a port. I'm feeling extremely festive tonight, boys. I was in Shrewsbury today. The Christmas lights are on and everything. Had a couple of pints in town, and I've got back after the game, and I've got a Marks and Spencer's mince pie, and this super thick cream stuff with it. It's almost like super glue level thickness. And I've got a big glass of port, so I'm feeling very Christmassy. So sorry, Nat Phillips.
I'll let you off.
Right, okay. So, yeah, we're doing well in terms of the cover that we have at the back at the moment. Joe Gomez is playing an important role in that, in sort of covering those two positions. And that's why I wouldn't sign another defender anyway to play right back, because you've got him who adds the versatility of being able to play in the middle as well. And in an absolute emergency, you can stick him at left back, and he's not going to probably let you down because of his experience and his ability on the ball. So, all good stuff there.
And the John, kids as well. You got the kids coming through.
Yeah.
You want to have like Conor Bradley. It's a shame he's been injured as long as he has, because he absolutely tore it up on loan last year, and he's really highly thought of. So that was a shame that he didn't get to play. But I don't think we'd be signing anybody and putting them in front of him. Especially while you've got Gomez to fill in anyway. And on the left-hand side, Costas, fair play to Costas. We were doubting him a few weeks ago. Things weren't looking great for him. He's bounced back really well. He had another decent game tonight. Nothing spectacular, but unfortunate that that shot. Fuck me, what a shot that was.
So lucky.
It looked in all the way, didn't it?
Yeah, great shot.
I was up celebrating that one.
Yeah.
Because he's apart from the cup final penalty winner, he hasn't scored for us, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Still.
No. Neither's Gomez.
Yeah. And he almost got why he didn't almost get one. He had a shot tonight,
it was close. So. It was only a couple of inches wide. That was.
Yeah, I know, but it's one of those where the keeper's scampering across on his knees because he knows it's going wide and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But thankfully we didn't need the fullbacks to bail us out with goals tonight, because quarter of an hour in, somehow at various points during this move, John, all three of the attackers involved in the goal found themselves in acres of space. Diaz picked it up in a load of space, played it through to Mo, who initially had a load of space, and then he bundles it across to Gakpo, who nets one of those trademark back post open goal finishes, and it's pretty much game over after that.
he likes those goals, doesn't he? Just uh, hovers in on the back post and taps him in. But again, Mo, I think in the first game, Mo came on, didn't he? We were 2-1 up on that really bad pitch, and it was just probably like Brownie playing five-a-side with you guys. There's a total difference in class.
Hang on. I need to stop you there, because Chris, I think you need to apologise for the last pod. And
I do.
You said that.
That's not going to happen.
No, he said Brownie was the best player on the pod, and Stu Monty was going nuts in the chat about it. He was not happy at all. And he said that he's better than the rest of us and he's better than Brownie. I think Chris needs to address this and give due credit to the best player on the pod, the only Ballon d'Or winner on the pod.
Yep, absolutely, man. I mean, like, I was Brownie all the way, and then I heard what Stu had to say, third hand, second hand, and I completely dismissed that out of hand. But Dave, like, alerted me to the fact that you're the only player on the podcast who's nutmegged a Ballon d'Or winner by proxy. So
true.
So you have the crown now, and until Brownie or Monty or anybody else wants to take it from you, I think it's rightfully yours.
I'll take that.
You can subscribe to the Liverpool Way podcast on all the major platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon or Podbean. Just search for the Liverpool Way, leave us a review and hit subscribe to automatically receive all new episodes. You can also head to liverpoolway.co.uk and grab a TLW season ticket for just £3 a month. There's tons of exclusive content, including match reports from every Liverpool game, weekly Premier League roundups, the TLW diary and access to the members-only forum. Lastly, you can follow us on social media at The Liverpool Way on Twitter and at The Liverpool Way TLW on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, but no, as I say, joking aside, Mo, when he came on against LASK in the first group game, it was just like men and boys. He obviously got that really good goal as well, didn't he, at the end, the nutmeg. And tonight he just looked a class apart again, and he just looked like he was having a good time tonight, didn't he? And he seems to be taking on. I mean, he's always been great in terms of scoring and as a team player, but he seems to be. He seems to have kind of a new role almost. He's enjoying. I know he's obsessed with goals. Dave has often mentioned this on the pod, but he seems to be enjoying setting him up now. And tonight was great. Just a little flick with the outside of the left boot, and he's just so prolific. Either he's scoring goals or he's getting assists. And I know the lads have been on about what is an assist in the last few games, but that one tonight was a definite assist because he's done the work. He got a great ball across to Gakpo. And
did you not think it was a shot?
No,
I thought it was a bit of a bobbly.
No, it was
a little bobbly.
Initial reaction when he plays it, he kind of throws his head back as if to say, "Oh!" And then Gakpo scores, and it's like, yeah, I'm claiming that as a pass. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that. I think he maybe had a shot. Well, what we can't dispute is Trent's assist. That isn't an assist. Some of Trent's assists at like set pieces and stuff like that. That's a proper assist. That pass, brilliant.
And
it's funny you mentioned.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah,
you mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned on the pod last week. I think it was with Brownie and Jules. Was it about what Trent said in the England press conference about breaking the lines, scoring goals?
Yeah, well, we haven't seen that, have we? And then the next
last
game
2 weeks.
So,
okay, I owe Trent an apology there, I think.
Maybe
there's a lot of apologising going on here tonight.
Yeah. First time for everything.
Sorry, Chris. So just great for the two lads in the first half, and obviously that the game is over as a contest, and it's just a case of how many we can get if we can keep a clean sheet and if we can stay injury free, which we managed to do. So again, perfect first half, 2 goals, perfect second half, and a perfect night.
Mm-hmm. The thing I'm noticing a little bit more about Mo this season is perhaps he's not quite like wowing us as much as he used to, but I think he's finding a way to be like more effective than he ever has been, just in terms of his goal contributions and that kind of stuff, and the sort of efficiency of his play. And I think if he could, there was a couple of opportunities for him tonight to get on the score sheet before he did. If he could cut out some of those sort of weaker, curlier efforts on goal and start being a little bit more clinical in front of goal, then, gosh, can you imagine some of the numbers he'd be putting up?
More sledgehammer and less scalpel.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, definitely.
Him and Darwin need to find like the right blend for like the finishing. Like Darwin's too much like blasting it, and Mo's too much with the little back pass type ones. But I said in the match report like last week about Mo, I just think he's like evolved now, and he's had to, because I don't think he's quite as like explosively quick as he was. He's still quick, obviously, but you don't really see him beating players anymore. You know, he tends to like run into them, or they'll just get a toe on it and knock it out for a corner. He's not those like goals when like he dribbles past 4 players and the ball's like stuck to his foot and like he just gets away. He's not really doing that, which is fine. That's not like criticising him. As players get older, like things are different. You know, like they have to evolve the game slightly, and like the comparison that I made, it's not like a like for like comparison for obvious reasons, but like John Barnes, when John Barnes lost his pace, like completely lost his pace, obviously Mo hasn't, he had to change his game. He's like no longer the winger on the outside. He was like skinning people, putting crosses in, scoring amazing goals. He totally transformed into like a central midfield player who kept the ball. Now, Mo's transformation is not as drastic as that, but Mo now is a creator. He sets up so many more chances than he ever did before. And I watched an interview with him, like, I don't know, it was on some like Sky Sports YouTube thing, when they do like, they asked him like 10 questions or something like that. And they were asking about like his relationship with Darwin. And Mo said, I said to Darwin, like, when I get the ball, I'm always going to look for you. And I'm watching that, I'm going, well, it's true, because when you watch him play, he does always try to play those little passes through to Darwin. But I was also thinking, I fucking guarantee you, not once did he ever say that to Bobby or Sadio. At no point did he go up to them and say, look, when I get the ball, I'm just looking for you every time. As if there's like no way. But now he has changed his game. Obviously, the team's changed as well. The dynamic of the front three is totally different. And Mo is like still putting up his big numbers. He's still getting the goals. Maybe not quite at the rate he was in his absolute peak, but he's still getting plenty of goals, especially at Anfield, where he scores like every single game. But he's much more creative now than he was, say, like 3-4 years ago, and that's something that's like definitely changed as he's got older and his game's just evolved slightly. As I say, I mentioned John Barnes, but it's not the same as that. But the basic principle is like, well, I'm not necessarily able to do exactly that anymore, so now I'm going to do this. And you can see he is like, and the other thing is, and this is nothing to do with Mo himself, the way we play now is different, where like you see him, he's having to come deep to pick the ball up and give us that width on the right hand side, because Trent's not over there anymore. So when the centre-back's got the ball and he's looking for like the out ball on the right, it's Mo now. Sometimes he's even coming back into his own half to pick the ball up, and he protects it really well, and he usually keeps the ball. He'll pop a little pass inside and that. But these are areas that he never used to have to go in before. You know, that wasn't what he was doing. He was just constantly like making those diagonal runs in behind. He doesn't get to do that anymore, whether he's capable of doing that or not. I mean, obviously he is. He's still quick. He's just not the fastest player in the team like what he was, but he doesn't get to do that as often because he's got other duties to keep the shape of the team, and he's done that without any kind of ego or anything, like thinking, oh, I don't want to do that, I want to be up front scoring goals. He's got on with it and he's just done it, and I think that's to his great credit as well.
I think he looks happy as well. He's the happiest I've seen him look. He looks like really just like he's enjoying his football. And like he was all smiles when he came off tonight, wasn't he? So it's just,
only because he'd scored.
Yeah, right. It was sort of. You can tell that Jurgen probably wanted to make some of those changes at half time, but you know he wanted to wait until
let him get his goal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to wrap the first half up, there were a couple of moments, John, where they did kind of get in behind it and they played some nice football, but most of the times they got in behind us, and this was true throughout the game, really, the play goes through to its completion and then the flag goes up. So you almost get like a skewed perspective of how effective they've been, because like I tend not to worry too much now compared to what I did last season when teams were just getting in behind us constantly. I feel like that's an issue that we've done really well in terms of sorting out. Now I feel like when teams get in behind us, more often than not, the flag is going to belatedly go up. So, you know, sometimes it can look a little bit like they've done a good job in playing through us, but really they haven't.
Yeah, you got the term exactly correct, Chris. A skewed perspective, because if you look at it and you're thinking that we're getting rinsed, but actually it's offside. And I'm not going to get into a VAR debate tonight, but that's one of my big bugbears at the moment as well. This offside rule, where they wait until the completion of the play to put up the flag where it's clear that it's offside. And I mean, it hasn't happened yet, not that I can think of anyway, but somebody's going to get seriously injured.
And especially on a night like tonight when it's -2.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And it's why leave the... can one of you explain the reason why they leave the play go through to the very end of the action or whatever? Because I just don't get it. If it's offside, it's offside, and just stick your flag up rather than risking a sliding tackle. Because usually in those situations, as you said, Chris, the back four probably pushing up, and there's going to have to be a sliding tackle or some kind of intervention to stop the play, and it just increases danger and risk for players. So I don't get why this law is being enforced, and it's going to end up bad for somebody.
They don't want like a goal getting disallowed that shouldn't be disallowed. So because they're using VAR, the logic behind it is, well, we'll just let it play out and let VAR deal with it. Because like, if you put your flag up thinking he's offside and then he's not, that goes against what they're doing with the whole VAR.
Some of them are just
I don't like
obvious,
it. I know. Yeah. I'm just saying the reason that's why they do that. But I don't like it. And it is.
But they need to just deploy it strategically, right? Like, reserve keeping your flag down for calls that are tight.
Yeah.
If somebody's 2 yards offside, like, it's just the fact that they blanket apply that rule to pretty much everything until the player's gone through. So just fucking do it for the ones that are obviously offside. As you say this all the time.
I know.
They're really, really good at their jobs. So just let them do it, right?
They're not going to miss the obvious ones, are they? They're almost always going to get it right. If they're sure that it's offside, they'll put the flag up. If they're not sure, keep it down. But Costas and Kelleher almost collided. Like, Costas, I think Kelleher shouted for it, and Costas didn't want to take any chances, and he slid in and cleared it. And they almost had like a really bad collision. And that was because of that. And that's why Klopp was going mad at the fourth official, saying, you've got to put the flag up, because we could have had a bad injury there. I mean, God forbid, Costas could have clattered Kelleher, and Kelleher could be out, and then you know what that means?
Yeah. Spearing.
That's the thing. I mean, we're already down to the bare bones with Andy being out for the next few weeks.
Andrew.
And Andrew. So they could have both got injured in that case. So Costas is out then, and Keller is out, and obviously Alisson's going to be out for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So it's just putting players in danger needlessly. So but that's the rule, I guess. So
considering how high they are on like blowing the whistle when a player is down hurt with a head injury, and how high they are on any tackle that is deemed to endanger an opponent, you'd think they'd have a little bit more common sense when it comes to endangering players by having defenders sprint back into position because they think the striker's through on goal. But anyway, we've already gone longer on VAR in a game where it wasn't used a single time than we needed to. So the second half started just frenetically as the first three. It was kind of end-to-end stuff. This it was like, as we said at the start, really entertaining game. Good stuff for the people who turned out in -2 condition. They certainly got their money's worth. And we soon got a pen 5 minutes into the second half. Gakpo did well to get there first. First of all, I thought the keeper had pushed the ball away, but the replay showed he didn't get anywhere near it. And Mo smacked in the pen, and I just thought that was one of those like secondary school efforts from the goalkeeper to try and save the pen, and people just don't. They're too small, so they don't fucking dive.
He thought Mo was going up the middle. He's done his homework on Mo's pens, and a lot of them have gone up the middle. and that's what he was expecting. And you always look like it's hit. If you gamble on that they're going up the middle and you don't dive, you look stupid. But if they do go up the middle and you save it, like I think Pickford last year against Vardy, I mean that basically kept them up. That and fucking Brighton. But anyway.
Stop.
So
cut his mic.
The keeper there, he's obviously thought he's going up the middle. A lot of his pens go up there. But even if he dives, he's not getting anywhere near that. That's one of the best pens I've seen Mo take. That was like definitely. Perfect penalty. Brilliant penalty.
Yeah, definitely. And that was his... sorry, John, go ahead.
Sorry, Chris, do you trust him more and more now on pens? I do.
Yeah, until he misses one, and then I'll go back to saying no. But no, he has kind of won me back over. His
last couple have been really good.
Yeah.
Since the one he missed and he got the tap in against Brentford, I think it was. Since then, I think the ones he's taken have been really good.
One thing I have to say about Mo with penalties, even though like there's times when I'm like, I don't trust him at all. What's he doing? He takes it like really seriously. You know, the thought that he puts into it, like. Even when he's blasting it and you think, what's he doing? He's just decided I'm going to blast it. There'll be a reason for it. Because I always remember, like, Ben Foster's got that YouTube channel and he's really informative. Like, he tells you stuff that you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And he was talking about Mo and he said, like, when he played, Mo always did well against Watford, didn't he? Even Ben Foster was there. And he said, like, at the end of the game, Mo came up to him. And, you know, Mo's always got his hand over his mouth when he's talking to people and that. And, like, they said to me, like, what's he saying to you there? And he went, he came up to me and he said, if we'd have got a penalty today, which way were you going to dive if I took the penalty? So he's, like, trying to do his homework. He wants to know if the keepers are like, yeah, you put all your penalties to the left and I was going to go to the left. And then he'd be like, okay, so they're on to me now. So he does put, like, a lot of thought into that. So I've got to give him credit there. And that's probably part of the reason why he's being kept on them, and something we don't know about. They must have like penalty competitions in training, and if he wasn't like either winning or, you know, top 2 or 3, I think they'd have taken him off pens.
I think there might be a net positive as well to keeping him on pens, because if he's getting his goals through pens, he's going to be more liable to not go into it's 20 minutes left in the game and I haven't scored yet, so I'm just going to like shoot on sight every time I get the ball and dribble past the whole team.
And you can sub him without him throwing a tantrum as well.
Right, there you go.
He's got a smile on his face when he comes out.
That's fine by me.
I mean, he did that at Chelsea, didn't he, in the first game of the season? He got taken off and he was in a bit of a strop because he hadn't scored, and he does tend to do that. But if he scores, you can take him off. If he gets scored after 5 minutes, I reckon you can take him off after 6 and he'd be happy. You know? He's just obsessed with his stats. And in fairness to him, that was 199 tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Next goal, hopefully, Chris, you'll get to see that on a Sunday.
Yeah,
hopefully he'll bring up 200 for Liverpool on Sunday, which will mean that he'll be one of only 5 players in our history to get to that mark, which is unbelievable.
Gosh, I really hope that happens. I've got 2 Anfield games to see it. I guess if I had to choose, I'd probably pick the one after that. But yeah, that'd be a lovely moment to see that. And he just keeps, you know, racking up the accolades. I think that was his 20th goal in his last 19 games at Anfield. So really, the odds are on him doing it. You know, like there aren't many that go by where he doesn't get his goal. So, and it's not like he's, you know, getting hat tricks all the time these days. So, yeah, hopefully that does happen. And
he will.
The goal was the cue, as we kind of alluded to earlier. The goal was the cue to ring the changes. We had 3 subs. Darwin comes on for Mo. Curtis comes on for Diaz, and Trent comes on for Konate. And there's a really nice moment there, Dave, where Darwin's coming on and Diaz is coming off, and they exchange that. Like Darwin like lifts him off the ground. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that was lovely.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, it was. My dad was fuming that we didn't get to see Diaz's dad celebrating the goal as well. He kept going on. He's like, why isn't the camera on Diaz's dad? Where you know, because they had it on him at Man City, didn't he? Obviously, like the cameraman couldn't pick him out in the crowd for this one. But I would have liked to have seen that because he actually scored. He was celebrating like Trent's goal at the weekend, but it would have been nice to see him celebrating like his son's goal. But never mind. There might be some footage.
Maybe something
somewhere.
will come out.
Yeah.
Maybe footage. And it's his first goal back, I think, at Anfield, isn't it? Since all this stuff happened as well, so yeah, it's really nice. But yeah, Chris, as you say, just being able to spring the bench after 55 minutes. Mo gets his goal. He's fresh for the weekend. Diaz the same. May started the weekend. And then you're obviously getting Trent and Curtis, half an hour or so, which is really good. So the game management has been really good in the whole competition, and tonight was absolutely perfect. And we even, got to rest completely Virgil, who obviously come back in, and the two lads in midfield as well. So couldn't ask for any more tonight from in terms of keeping players fresh for the period ahead. So yeah, fantastic all round.
What did you think of Endo tonight?
Thought he did
He's
a
good.
Solid job.
Yeah,
Really
he
solid.
does his job.
Got better the longer it went on, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's kind of a perfect competition for him as well, isn't it? At least in the group stages. Maybe that'll change when we get to the business end of things in March. But for the moment, it allows him to get game time, to get used to the system, and also allows the two lads Dom had a night off tonight for the first time in a good while. He's obviously been busy with international stuff. Mac last week as well with the long journey from South America, so they'll have had a full week off between the City game and the Fulham game, and should be really fresh and good to go on Sunday. So yeah, Endo is doing exactly. I think we bought him for this kind of game, and he's proven his worth at the moment.
Yeah. What did you make of Darwin's cameo tonight, Dave? It was there was a couple. Within 2 minutes of coming on, he'd had two shots on goal. One was deflected wide, and one was well saved. Neither of them went in, but it was kind of summed him up really. An instant threat and in and around the action at all times, but the ball's just not going in the net very often at the moment.
No, but I don't think he's done anything wrong on either of those. It's
the second one I thought he could have done better with. I mean, if your shot's blocked, then your shot's blocked. But if you hit it straight at the keeper, then
but the keeper's there, and there's a couple of defenders as well. It's not like he had a big gap to aim for.
There's always a goalkeeper.
Again, though, he's blasted it rather than maybe pick the spot. But I don't think it's you class it as a bad miss or anything. It's just one of those.
Mind you, the last time he played in that competition at Anfield, there was no keeper, and he still missed.
Yeah, that's true.
Or was that in the League Cup?
No, it was in Europe, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, go on. What did you make of his little half an hour?
Yeah, I thought when he came on, he straight away, it just lifted the tempo, and things happen when he's around. And I thought, there's no way he's not scoring here. After he had those two chances straight away, but after that, ball didn't come to him. He was making runs. We had good situations, but somebody else would be in a better position. The ball's gone elsewhere. Didn't really get much of a chance. I was frustrated that he didn't get his goal. It's you want him to score in a game like this because everyone else has got a goal, all the other forwards, and it just would have been nice for him to get one just to keep things ticking over. But no, I'm absolutely delighted with the way he's playing. I think he's a massive threat whenever he plays, and I do think the goals are just going to start flowing.
Yeah, okay.
He's got United soon. He'll get another couple against them last season.
Oh, yes, please.
I do agree with Chris, though, Dave, that he does need a goal. It's been a while now. I mean, he's been involved and he's getting chances and he's setting up chances, but did you say, Chris, before it was around 5 games?
It is 5,
the last game...
That's
I think the last goal
it doesn't feel like it, but again, probably because of Uruguay, isn't it?
I think the last goal he got was in that Bournemouth away.
League Cup, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that great one he got in the top corner against Bournemouth. Yeah, so that was on the 1st of November, so yeah, a month since he's got a goal, so... but could do with one at the weekend.
But he did shout at Guardiola, so that kind of makes up for at least 3 games of no goals.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still don't know what that was about, and I'm desperate to know what it was.
Yeah, me too.
I like to think it was in response to what happened last season, when he was wanting our players to celebrate one of City's goals and shaking their hands and going, "Oh, what a great goal that was." I'd like to think Darwin was pointing and going, "Yeah, did you like that fucking goal?" But it'll probably be something absolutely stupid, something that we'd never have guessed.
That would probably explain why Guardiola didn't know what Darwin was on about, though, wouldn't it? If it was that,
Klopp knew something was afoot, though. Because, when you watch it back, did you see, Klopp shakes hands with Guardiola and starts to walk away? And Klopp knew, before Darwin even reached Guardiola, Klopp had turned around as if to say, uh-oh, and he was already making his way over. So something must have been getting said on the bench. Darwin's probably saying, I'm going to fucking say something to that twat. Because Klopp was definitely ready for it, because he turned and he's already going over to defuse the situation before the situation started. So Klopp's lying when he says, I didn't know what it was about and that it was all in Spanish. He knew that something was going to happen there, and he got in time to stop it escalating. But because I've watched that probably about 200 times trying to figure out exactly what was going on. But yeah, still don't know, and I'm desperate to know. Might have to wait until the autobiographies come out.
Yeah, right. I just loved how much Jurgen was actually loving it, though. He had a great big massive smile.
And
on
the other
his face
players
the whole
as
time.
well. Did you see McAllister just smirking away? Do you know the only thing that was missing there was Bobby? Because you imagine the faces Bobby had to be put
with his little side eye.
Yeah. But no, Curtis has a little smirk and McAllister can't keep the grin off his face. And that's what I mean. I think they were all sat on the bench and they knew he was pissed off about something and he was going to say something, because it didn't shock any of them. None of them was surprised by what had happened. It was the players were laughing. They weren't looking as if to say, what's going on here? They were just laughing as if to say, oh, he's done it. And Klopp knew that was coming as well. Whatever he says, when you watch his reaction, he's already started to diffuse that situation before the situations even arose.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it's great.
I genuinely do love him to death. I know that sometimes I push back a little bit hard against you.
It's me that makes you root against him. It's like me with
I don't
Kelleher
root against him.
But I know what you mean.
Him.
Yeah,
I push back a lot at your fanaticism a little bit. That's all.
It's me
but I
and
do
my dad,
genuinely love him.
Yeah,
pretty much. Kelleher had a good game tonight.
He did have a good game tonight, as I know because my dad kept going on about it. Kelleher, as he calls him. His dad's pronunciations, though. I mean, all season, Szoboszlai, he's just saying to me, what's his name again? Who's he? I'm like, Szoboszlai, Dad. And he just wouldn't attempt it. And the other week he attempted it, and he went, is Superfly playing today?
That's a good nickname.
I know,
for him,
it works. It was it wasn't intentional at all. It was just a total mistake. But it's I'm okay, that kind of works. But
definitely.
What was the?
How does he say Kelleher's first name?
He doesn't. Neither do I, though, to be fair.
It's fair enough.
Well, he just he calls him Kelleher. But when he made a save and he was like, you see, that's why he's our best goalie. I'm like, stop, just stop right now. I'm not having this conversation again. And he's like, but he is, I trust him more. Just because you trust him more doesn't mean he's better, okay? And then he starts going on about he doesn't mess about with his feet like Alisson. I'm like, I agree with you. You're right. I totally agree with you. He's much better with his feet, but don't start saying he's a better goalkeeper, because he's not. But he did play well tonight. He made a couple of smart saves. Even though a couple of them were offside, wouldn't have counted, but he doesn't know that.
He's done really well in the second half. He's come off his line really quick and made himself big. He's made a good save. But I mean, he's gonna have to be good, isn't he? Because he's going to probably in there for the next. I'm not sure how long Alisson is going to be out. Probably 3 weeks or so.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
Kelleher's going to be in there for.
We've got to have a conservative estimate, haven't we? Really, we can't really be gung ho because we don't really have any experience of players like that coming back before.
Never.
Never. So, but that clean sheet he kept tonight, John, is important as well, right? We need him to play well, but we also need him to be confident, and that's making some saves, keeping the others out. That's it bodes well for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we've kind of called him out this season on the pod in Europe a few weeks back, where everything just seemed to go past him. And there was it a game against Toulouse at home where there was a one-on-one and he just made the goal so big. And we kind of criticised him rightly at the time. And he would have been playing tonight even if Alisson had been fit, obviously, but the fact that he played, knows that he's going to be playing on Sunday against Fulham, and kept a clean sheet tonight and made a couple of good saves as well. It sounds as if he kept a clean sheet and had nothing to do. He made 2 good saves. He's really good with his feet as well, and hopefully we can count on him. We'll need to protect him, I think, more than we do with Addison. We can rely on Addison a lot more than Kelleher, but hopefully he'll come through for us. I think he's probably going to play up to and including the United game, because that's in 2 weeks' time, and I can't see Alisson, given what Klopp has said, being back before then, especially if it's a hamstring or muscle strain. So you'd like to think Alisson would be back for the United game, but if he's not, we're going to have to rely on Keller, and hopefully tonight we'll have given him the confidence to play well in the next few weeks, because we have some huge games coming up. So
what did Klopp didn't rule him out of the United game? Did he rule him out the next couple and said maybe that?
Okay.
But I think he won't play against United. I agree with you. I think he'll be not quite back for that. I think there is a precedent, because didn't he have a hamstring injury before? I can't remember how long he was out for, but I think it was at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
what was that injury he had where it kept him out for a few weeks, and we effectively got knocked out of the European Cup because
Adrian had to go in.
Adrian had to play against Atletico.
Atletico, wasn't it?
That might have been hamstring. Might have been.
Yeah, could have been that muscle injury. Yeah, could have been that, Chris. Yeah.
Gosh.
So man. He's going to play. He's going to play probably at the weekend, definitely, and he's going to play the next 3 league games. They come up in quick succession as well. Fulham on Sunday, then Sheffield United midweek, and Palace on Saturday week. So we have 3 in 6 days. So he's going to play all those at least, and then does he play in the European game? That dead rubber, or do you rest him?
I'm resting him for that. Adrian's not in the squad, is he? The Brazilian lad was on the bench tonight, Pitaluga.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't register Adrian because they needed, I think it was Gravenberg when he came in. I think they had to register him. I don't know. Adrian missed out because somebody else needed to be registered.
Yeah.
So I don't think Alisson's going to be back. He's not going to be back for any of those games. I personally don't think he'll be back for the United game, just based on how long hamstring injuries usually take. And I know he's a goalkeeper, so he's not having to do as much running, but he still does have to run. If he's got to come out for a through ball and he's got to go sprinting, he's got to be fully fit. I don't think you can protect him, especially with our high line. If you're in goal for Everton, and I don't think Jordan Pickford's ever left his penalty area in the whole time he's been there. Because they defend deep. So you can protect the goalkeeper who's not going to have to run out and deal with through balls, but Alisson does come out of his goal to deal with stuff. So if he's not right, I don't think you can play him, and I'd be surprised if he was fully fit for the United game. But at least the games he's missing, when he's not missing games against anyone good, so there is that.
Yeah.
As long as he's back for Arsenal, that's the main thing.
Oh, that's it. That's
the week after, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the Saturday evening, under lights, just before Christmas. Christmas is on the Monday, and that Arsenal game is on the 23rd on the Saturday. So that's
we've had some really great just before Christmas games at home to Arsenal down the years, haven't we? Or just after Christmas. There was the one where we on Boxing Day, I think, where we won 5-1 or something, and just they took the lead, and then we absolutely dismantled. Bobby got a hat trick. And then it was the 22nd anniversary of Neil Mellor's winner yesterday against Arsenal.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I remember there was one just before Christmas as well, in 2001, where I think we smashed them 4-0 at Anfield, and it was the week after Danny Murphy had scored against Man United to end the God knows how long it had been since we'd won at Old Trafford with the free kick when we had the yellow kit. So we've had loads of big games against them, close to Christmas down the years, and we tend to fucking do really well in them. So I know that counts for nothing, but hopefully that tradition continues, because it's shaping up to be one of the 3 biggest games we have left. So, good stuff. Just I wanted to touch for a second on speaking of like young players who are backups. I thought Kwanzaa was really good again tonight, Dave. Like of all the young players that we've got coming through, maybe aside from like Harvey, I think he's the one I'm most excited about at the moment because he just looks the absolute business.
He does. Did you see that clip the other day with it when Vinny O'Connor was at the training ground and he was talking to Klopp? Klopp was like messing around, got him in a headlock and stuff. And
I read it in your roundup or the diary or something.
Yeah, and he said like Klopp, and I don't know whether Klopp knew the camera was on him. I mean, there's a cameraman stood behind him, so he probably did. And Vinny O'Connor says, I was at the under-21 game the other night, you know, a couple of goals for Harvey. And he said something like, you know, Kwanzaa played well, and Klopp was like, yeah, Virgil 2.0. And I'm like, that's like a really, like, big thing to say. Even though it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, you still don't say that about someone. Like, he's not going to call Nat Phillips Virgil 2.0. Do you know what I mean?
Because it'd be deemed like he'd be taking the piss.
Yeah.
If he did.
So for him to say that, he sees him every day in training, and there is similarities. You know, like just the way he carries himself, and he can spray passes about. He's not done that too much, but we've seen him do it occasionally, and apparently, like, he bossed the game for England under 21s. He's like playing centre back and just totally bossed the game. He was like outstanding. He's way better than I think any of us like expected him to be when he was like around the squad at the start of the season. We're like, oh yeah, he looks all right. You know, he might be useful. And now you look at him like, if he had to play in a league game, I would not bat an eyelid at all.
No, he just looks like he belongs, doesn't he?
He belongs.
Whereas like, God bless them, Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, the job that they did for us that season when they got us in the Champions League, I won't have a word said against either of them two. You know, like what they did for us was like heroic under the circumstances. You never looked at them and thought that's like a future centre back, someone who's going to cement a place. It's like someone who's come in and like performed above and beyond what you would reasonably expect from them. But like, I'm looking at Kwanzaa and I'm like, yeah, he's an actual proper player and someone who may well go on to become first choice here. He looks like he's got it in him. Now, the only caveat to that is he's not done it against like high quality opponents yet. He's been like mainly these Europa League games. Did he play at Newcastle?
Yeah, when Virgil got sent off.
He came on, you know,
and
he did well in that game. So that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest test he's had in terms of like quality of opposition. And he coped with that. Like, you know, there was nothing about him that made you think, oh, I'm not sure about that. He's so confident, so good on the ball. I don't think he's lightning quick, but he's quick enough. He's strong, aggressive. He's
intelligent as well.
Yeah, he looks the business. He really does.
Yeah.
And there was one.
None of us.
Go ahead, John. Sorry.
Go on, Chris. Sorry.
I was gonna say there was a couple of minutes, like with like 20 minutes to go. Twice in a couple of minutes, he got back and he made a really tremendous block. And then a couple of minutes after that, there was a similar situation where he just looked so much like Virgil when he did it, where he just sort of like caught up with the player and just harried him out of play. Just sort of like stood alongside him and said, no, you're not going anywhere. And the ball went out for a goal kick. Like, it's just stuff like that you look at him and obviously there's a hell of a long way to go. And the kid's obviously got a really good head on his shoulders as well, judging by the limited times we've heard him speak and stuff. But man, like, I am super pumped about him to the point where I wouldn't be looking to sign another centre half at all now. That would just block his path. Just like, let's ride with him.
Well, if you sign another centre back, it would be because Matip's leaving. Now, I'm increasingly coming round to the point of view where I just think give him another 2-year contract and let's stick with what we've got and keep looking at Kwanzaa. Now, it's just that left-hand side where you think, do we need like Virgil's successor? Maybe we found him, maybe we haven't. But Virgil looks like he's got a good few years in him. You know, he looks like he's back anyway. So it's not that pressing a need. And like, so you look at someone like the Dutch kid who Tottenham signed, and he started the season well. He's injured now. He's out for a while, but he looked good. And there's a part of me thinking, why didn't we go for him? You know, we were linked to them. It looked like we were going to make a move, and we didn't. And for whatever reason, we've not done that. And I know Paul's always banging the drum. Paul wants like a left-sided defender, and I see the argument for it, but I don't think it's as long as we don't have an injury crisis. I think we're fine with what we've got. And the real question, it's not so much about Quansah. Quansah's going to have a future here. I think we can see that. Whether it's as a squad player or as like an absolute nailed-on starter, we'll see. But we know he's good enough that you want him as part of the squad. The real question is, what do we do with Matip? Do we give him a new contract, or do we let him go and then buy someone?
Do you think he'd take a year at this point in his career?
Not sure he'd take a year. Players tend to not take 1 year contracts.
Especially with the Saudi money now.
But I'd offer him two.
Yeah.
I'd offer him two, and then if after a year he wants to move on, you don't have to ask for a transfer fee for him, do you? You know,
he's only 32. I mean, only in centre back terms, he's still got a couple of years in him, and I think he's done enough to earn that contract. As you said before in this pod, Dave, remember, was it maybe 4 or 5 years ago we just decided to rebuild him because he was injured the whole time, and we just took him out and basically got him back on a solid footing, and ever since then he's been he's had his injuries and everything, but in the last couple of years he's been available more often than not. So
$6 million man. I think he built him, didn't he?
Yeah.
And since then he's not really been injured much at all since they took him out and did that. And I think you also have to consider the impact on the squad. It's like, I think you've got to keep him, because imagine how just heartbroken everybody would be if he left, especially Virgil. Would Virgil cope if Joel left? I don't think he could deal with it. I think you've just got to give him a contract for as long as Virgil's here.
I think that's just likely to happen as well, right? Because Jurgen tends to reward the players that he's loyal to. Like, he wants to give everybody new contracts, pretty much. If they're willing to stay and what have you, and if they're a part of the team. I mean, I know it's different with like Ox and Keita, but clearly the writing was on the wall for them. That's not the case with Joel, obviously, because at the moment he's first choice centre half alongside Virgil. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't at least offer him. He doesn't seem like the type who's going to say no over money unless we really lowball him. So it seems like a probable scenario.
Yeah, seems like a no-brainer to me. I think he said a few weeks back that he saw himself finishing his career either at Liverpool or Schalke.
Yeah,
those were the two clubs. So obviously money talks, and with the Saudi money and everything now, that could make a difference. But give him a 2-year contract, and even just to have him around the squad and everything, as Dave said, is really vital. And just on Quansah, I mean, a lot of us probably wouldn't have known much about him at the start of the season, but we're 20 games in, and he's started 6 times. Played in 10 games, so he's kind of quietly working his way into Klopp's thinking, and who knows, maybe 2 years down the line he could be a regular starter. He's still only 20, so he is 5, 10, 15 years ahead of him if we can keep him. So
so
he's
young
really
for a
good.
Centre-half. 20.
Yeah, I know.
He's a baby.
Sure is.
My one caveat, just to return to the Matip thing for a second, my one caveat with giving Joel a new contract would be the fact that we've been here before, and that we have mistakenly given players in their 30s new contracts, and we know where that has led us in terms of not being able to sign new players because you have to get rid of the existing ones. You know the way that FSG operate on that, and that's really hindered us. So I would caution that we could maybe learn a lesson from that in terms of handing out a 2-year contract now that doesn't look good a year or so from now. That would be my only sort of
I think the only
caution.
reason it wouldn't look good was if he started getting injuries again. His form's not going to completely drop off a cliff or anything, plus the fact you're not relying on him to be in the team every single week anyway. So I don't think with the midfield it was more of a problem because there was so many of them who were injured all the time or weren't contributing when they were fit, and we couldn't bring players in because Klopp was keeping those players. He they had years left on the contract, and he wasn't forcing them out. If a player wanted to stay, he let them stay until the contract was up, and then they left, and then we rebuilt the midfield when we should have done it 12 months ago and sent Ox and Keita packing. But that's not Klopp's style. That take that point. All I would say is that it's only one player. It's not like we've got the whole of the back four who are
Yeah.
like with the midfield where we had too many who were not contributing. I don't think that's the case with the defence, but it may well be part of the thinking, just the financial aspect of it, and you're not going to bring in another player when you've already got 4. So yeah, it's something to think about. But personally, unless there's like a shit hot player who we don't want to miss out on, I'd be looking at it and going, "Oh, I'll just keep Joel for another season and the transfer funds used for something else." What that something else is, I don't really know, to be honest.
Chris, would you go on? Would you just give him a year-on-year contract like we did with Milner, maybe?
If he'd be willing to accept it, I'd be more than happy to do that. But Milner, I think he's kind of like just such a unique personality and player that a lot of these players, when they get in their 30s, they don't want to sign 1-year contracts because they know that it's going to be like maybe their last opportunity to sign for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how it goes. But I think personally, if I speak for us all, that we'd all love him to stick around from a sentimental point of view. But I would just like to avoid another situation where where shit creeps up on us, basically. So anything more, John, I'll start with you. Anything more you want to add about the game tonight, or maybe just a roundup?
Gakpo's goal.
Just
talk about the
goal. Fucking hell. Yeah, of course. Gosh.
Yeah, the 4th goal was really good.
Talk
as we say, Trent. Trent just providing a real assist, I guess, breaking the lines. He's obviously scored against City on Saturday, and he's done really well tonight. Gakpo, I mean, we've been a little bit critical of him this season, but he's been playing out of position, especially against Chelsea in the first game. But in that role tonight, where he's further forward, his touch is really good, as you'd expect from most Dutch players. I thought he linked up really well with Gravenberch as well. There's some nice interplay between them, and he took his goal really well, just controls it, cuts back inside, and the finish is really good. So he's got another 2 tonight, and he's in a pretty good vein of form at the moment. He's got 6 for us this season, and if he gets between 15 and 20 this season, that's those are the figures Bobby was probably producing when he was at our best for us. So I'm really happy with his performance, and really good goal to cap off a great night for him.
Yeah, Dave?
Yeah, I said earlier, I thought he was our best player tonight. Really exciting performance from him. I want to see him build on it now, because he's just, you can see the abilities there, and we've seen in flashes how good he can be, and then there's other games where he just doesn't really do much, and it's a bit frustrating. But I want to see him like really kick on, because when he's at his best and he's doing the things he's good at, he looks a special player. One thing as well, when I said we were talking a while back about who the best finisher is, and I think we all agreed Jota's probably the best finisher out of all the forwards. But I did say I think Gakpo might be. We've just not seen enough at this point. But he does look like he's a good finisher. And the way he put that one away at the end there, really, really impressive. Excellent performance, and he's give Klopp a decision to make for the weekend.
Definitely. I think he's one of the reasons I would lean towards playing him at the weekends is because he looks like a little bit of a rhythm player. Like, he looks like if you give him 10 games, he will build on it, like you said. So I would definitely lean towards starting him at the weekend. Whether that means he starts on the left, whether that means he starts in the middle, and you've got Diaz on the left, you bring a Darwin on. Whatever combination you want, I think you keep feeding the hot hand, right? And he's scoring goals, and when he gets the opportunities, and he's playing well. So I'd be inclined to start him on Saturday, even though I'm really looking forward to seeing Darwin.
You could play Gakpo in the middle and Darwin left, and just keep moving them around and just have it like fluid. So I do think they could work well together. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
It's a good problem to have anyway, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure is. Chris, can I just mention, I don't think we've really mentioned him that much in the pod, but I thought Harvey was really good tonight again. He's just so enthusiastic. He's everywhere, gets involved so much, and he's been really good for us this season. He's played 18 out of our 20 games, and he's becoming a really important player, whether starting in these European games or coming off the bench in the league. He's changed games when he's come on this season, notably against Newcastle. He did really well, and I just think his enthusiasm is really, really great, and he's becoming a kind of a mainstay in Klopp's thinking in the midfield. I don't think he starts if everybody's fit, but he definitely plays most games, so he is great tonight as well.
Yeah, I think I completely echo that 100%. I think throughout this Europa League campaign so far, if you could pinpoint one player who, not to delve too deep into the Americanisms, but if you could pick one player who's probably been our most consistent, valuable performer, the MVP, I'd probably say it's him. Like, he's been really effective in every game, and I feel like he's really starting to boss some of these games now, like when he gets the opportunity, especially against like the lesser opposition where you want him to step up. He plays as if he has more experience than he actually has. So I've been delighted with him, and I thought, like you say, he was great tonight, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he played really well tonight. The only thing that's really lacking, sometimes just around the box, you just want it to be a little bit more clinical. Shooting opportunities, it maybe takes a touch too many, but that'll come. And I do think he's doing really well, and I think he's kicked on quite a bit this season, even though he's not a regular starter. He knows the role that he's got, he's embraced it, and I do think he's improving all the time.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so presuming we have nothing else to touch upon tonight, let's look ahead to the weekend. We have Fulham at Anfield, another 2 p.m. Sunday kickoff. This is the most I've been excited for a Sunday kickoff all season, because I actually get to go for the first time this year. Actually, it's just worked out that I haven't been able to get home, and I blame my fucking sister actually, because she got married in July. So it didn't really make sense for me to come like in April or May like I normally would. I know, fucking. You were the same the year before. You got married in June or July too. So that's 2 years in a row. I've been screwed by people getting married.
So selfish.
Fucking joke. I know. My sister was about to get married. She was going to get married in September, and I was like, "Oh yeah, bang on board with that. That's the perfect time to come. Like, you catch the end of the English summertime, and the lights are still night." The nights are still light outside, so I'm sat off in my mum's garden, and no, she changed it to July. So that's why I missed the complete second half of last season. Not like I missed that much either. It wasn't like a huge chore for me to not be able to be back for that. But yeah, delighted to be back and get a first look at this new team, get a first look at Szoboszlai and McAllister, and Gravenberch hopefully as well. And yeah, really, really looking forward to this one, and expecting a decent win on Sunday, Dave.
Don't forget Endo.
Yeah,
Endo's always overlooked. He's the forgotten man.
I'm sure he's listening. He'll be listening tomorrow, crying I didn't mention it.
No, you'd expect us to win because it's Anfield, and like we seem to win every game by like 3 or 4 goals, don't we? Don't see any reason why that won't be the case the weekend, because Fulham they've not really looked good this season. They're missing like a cutting edge up front. They're a decent size, they play nice football, well organised, but losing Mitrovic just kind of cut the balls off before the season started. Don't think they've recovered from that. They had a win the other night, which they can just... I mean, that's just purely down to the officials.
Oh, God, it was bad, that, wasn't it?
Oh, my God. Wolves. It's like the amount of times that Wolves have been shafted. And, like, I totally get why Wolves fans are, they're chanting like Premier League corrupt as fuck. And you know what? Totally get why they feel like that. What I don't like is Everton trying to latch onto them, going, "Oh, well done, Wolves. You call it out about this fucking Premier League." Fuck off. Don't be comparing your situation with them. Wolves have done nothing to bring this upon themselves. They're just getting absolutely screwed by referees for whatever reason. And it's happening like every other week. It's ridiculous what's happened to them. Don't be comparing that with your situation, which is totally, you brought it on yourselves. But Everton are just trying to like court like favour with all these other teams in the bottom half of the table, like thinking they should all stand together against the big bad Premier League. But like Wolves fans are saying Premier League corrupt as fuck, and I'm like, I totally get why you're really pissed off about it, and what's happened to them this season's disgusting. Some of the decisions that have gone against them defy belief. So I get all that. What I don't get is, what do they think the reasoning is why the Premier League would be favouring... Don't get me wrong, the first game of the season at Old Trafford Wolves fans are going to say, oh, look, it's like the big clubs getting the big decisions and all that. Okay, if that's the road that you want to go down, I totally see why you think that and why you would feel that way after that decision. What are they thinking about Fulham? Why are the Premier League favouring Fulham over Wolves? What's this conspiracy about, like, it's not that, it's really bad luck. Last year it was Brighton getting all those decisions. This year it seems to be Wolves. And Gary O'Neill's handled this with so much, like, class
what
and
a man he
restraint.
is, by the way.
I really liked him anyway, but the way he's handled all this, like, you know what, you are like a much, much bigger man than I am, because I just...
Oh, come on, that doesn't take much. That's hardly a good compliment.
I've said before, I'm a very small, petty man. I'm under no illusions. But the way Gary O'Neill's, all right, he's a bigger man than pretty much any other manager in the Premier League, because I don't think anybody else could have handled it the way he's handled it. So many decisions you look at and go, how is that possible? But I think last week might have been the worst that they've had to deal with. And the interesting thing is, the big problem there wasn't so much the ref on the pitch, because I always say this, you can make allowances for the referee on the pitch getting a penalty decision wrong. It happens so quick, the angle he's looking at it, players are diving and that, and it's so hard to know.
Yeah, and they're really good at it as well.
More often than not, they are. And like the two decisions in that game, there's the Harry Wilson one, the ref didn't give a pen for that. And I think that's fair enough. You could give it, you could not give it. I don't think there's a right or wrong on that. It's like, you've just got to give what you see. So he doesn't give it. And then he gets told by VAR, no, you've got to go and look at that. In other words, it's a penalty. Go and look at the screen and go and give the penalty. Refs hardly ever go against it when they're told to go and look. So he got involved there on that one. But he's not getting involved in, like, the absolute clearest penalty. It's not a penalty. He wins the ball. He doesn't touch the player. He watches, like, so many replays of it. He can see that that's the wrong decision, and he doesn't send the ref to the screen. How do you explain that? I know it's Stuart Atwell, and he's arguably the worst of all of these referees. He's, like, widely acknowledged by, like, most teams who have him. Oh, this fella, he's the worst out of all the refs. We've all got refs who we don't like, but I think just in terms of, not for being biased, just for being hopeless, I think Atwell might be, like, the worst. But I still don't know how you can make the decisions that he made the other night. So Wolves are obviously, because it's happened to them before so many times this season, that's, like, even worse than anything else they've had to deal with. So they're understandably just not rational about it. They're, like, totally losing the plot about it. And I get it, you know, I'd be the same. But Stuart Atwell's the fucking ref on Sunday. And, like, so he's favouring Fulham in that game. He's like, done everything he could for Fulham. And now we've got him against Fulham. So I'm like, uh-oh, what's he going to do?
Making you doubt everything.
Yeah, it's like, well, what's he going to do here? But no, I don't think, like, it's anything to do with, like, being biased or anything like that. I can't explain how he came to the decisions that he came to the other night. And Wolves, I mean, they're probably 7 or 8 points worse off than they should be. Yeah. And you know, you'd expect that would have them in the bottom 3, but shows how well they've been doing. But Fulham, to me, they just look like a neat and tidy team, but no real cutting edge. Not particularly good at the back either. And it's a game. It's a game we should be winning. The usual, really. You'd expect by, like, at least 3.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it shows, just to stay on Wolves for 1 second, to make it at least slightly relevant to Liverpool, is that, like, it just goes to show how good our win there was a couple of months ago when we came back from a goal down in that shocking first half performance and turned it around and played really, really well. And I know we've kind of, like, talked about the tough fixtures we've had, but considering how well Wolves have been playing and how they've given everybody a game, we shouldn't also overlook the fact that we went there and won, and they played really well on that day. So, you know, kudos to us for that. So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing with the refs, though, isn't it? Like, I sometimes look on the forum and I'll see, like, the build up to the match thread, and they'll announce who the referees are, and whoever it is, like, oh man, it's Tierney and Atwell on VAR. We're absolutely fucked this weekend. But it's like, insert name here. It's every week. So like, you kind of, you stop kind of noticing who it is because you just assume that they all suck. Like, it doesn't bother me who's
except
necessarily
my boy
appointed. The first ref ever to get my boy status.
Hey, I'll tell you what we need to talk about. We need to talk about your boy Lewis Dunk. What did you call him? Because of the
Richard
legend,
Dunk.
Richard Dunk.
I went with a lad called Richard Dunk, yeah.
Yeah, but what he did last week, that was amazing.
What did he do?
Did you not see
did he
that?
do?
No.
He got sent off. Like Anthony Taylor gave a penalty to. He gave a penalty to Brighton, which was like a ridiculous penalty. He shouldn't have given it. And then to make up for it, he didn't give this one, but VAR said to him, like, "Oh, go and take a look." And it was never a penalty in a million years, but it was a make-up call because he'd given a bad one at one end. He gave Forrest a penalty for absolutely nothing. So Lewis Dunk was like arguing about, like, he's the captain, so he's the one who's entitled to go and say stuff to the ref. So he goes and he says something about whatever the decision was, and Anthony Taylor looks at him and he pulls out a yellow card. And Lewis Dunk looks at him and goes, "You fucking bell end." and as soon as he said it, he turned away and he must have been thinking, "Oh shit." And Anthony Taylor takes like a second to take it in, thinking, "He's just called me a bell end there." So then he goes after Lewis Dunk, and before like he even says anything, Lewis Dunk turns around with his outstretched hand, wanting to shake his hand and put his hand on his shoulder and say, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." And the red card was out straight away. So he got 2 yellows in the space of like 5 seconds, both for dissent. But the second one was because he called him a fucking bell end. And as like Lewis Dunk then like walks off the pitch, he's just like a wry smile, shakes his head, and then he's walking off. And one of the other Brighton players comes up to Anthony Taylor and he's like, "What's that for?" And you can see Anthony Taylor say, "You call me a fucking bell end." And I'm like, "Oh, Lewis Dunk, that's my boy now. Lewis Dunk has got my boy status after that." That was just quality. Because
I feel like
can you send someone off for telling the truth? Because
He is literally a bell end.
Definitely.
Correct use of the word literally there.
Literally.
But I feel like, you know, the fact that he chose bell end as the insult counts against him there, because if you properly pronounce the word bell end with intent, it's one of the most sort of like identifiable insults and one of the most expressive insults with the big sort of like B that you can pronounce. So like it would have come across clear as day on the pictures and stuff. So
yeah, you need to watch the video of it. It's dead funny because you can clearly read his lips what he says, and then you can read Anthony Taylor's lips when he's telling the other Brighton player. it's dead funny, like.
Nice.
What do you reckon Brownie would have called him?
Brownie would have called him a knobhead.
Brownie, I know I've been like gushing in my praise of Brownie, maybe because I'm excited to see him at the weekend, but I've been gushing in my praise of Brownie lately because I think he has the best pronunciation of knobhead of any person I've ever heard in my life. Like next time he's on, make sure he does it. If I'm not hosting.
You don't need to make sure. It'll just flow naturally. It always does.
Yeah, fucking knobhead. It's fantastic. Have we got anything to say, John, about this game on Sunday, Fulham?
We should win. We've played 6 in the league at home, won 6, scored 17, conceded 2, and the big thing with us, as always, is the first goal. If we get the first goal, I fancy us to get 3 or 4. If we concede, it becomes more difficult because teams sit back. But the way we're playing at the moment, I fancy us to beat them pretty easily at the weekend, and hopefully it'll set up a good run. We've got a potential 9 points out of 9 in the next 3 games. Yeah, still you have to be just. Yeah,
it's
I know
Luton,
me, but
that does that, and it doesn't work out like that.
I sent him a text during the Luton game, and I was like, "That's fucking you, that," because he tipped us for the title like 3 days before after we'd beaten somebody in Europe on the podcast.
I know, that was ridiculous.
I also said in the roundup before the Luton game, I was hammering Luton over the week before about how shit they are, and I said, you know, I don't normally do this. The week before we're playing a team, I normally say I'm saying nothing about this team. And I said, I'm saying this because if we don't beat Luton at the weekend, this is not my fault. This is completely on the players. Don't be blaming me for it because there's no excuse for it. It's not me jinxing anything. It's just them not performing.
No, I mean, you have to fancy us to win at home anyway, and then Sheffield United away. Palace could be tricky. It's, again, which is another scandal. It's another 12:30 kickoff on Saturday.
Fuck.
They've moved that from 3 on Saturday.
Coming off the back of a midweek game away at Sheffield United as well.
Yeah, which was originally supposed to be on the Tuesday and was moved, I think, for Amazon to the Wednesday.
You can't play Sunday, Tuesday though, can you? So
so it does balance that way. But if we get 9 out of 9 in those 3 games, we go into our next league game is against United, and then Arsenal. So
15 out of 15.
I think it's
Fuck it.
15 out of 15, yeah. And we could be, if we get 15 out of 15, the maths are pretty simple. We'll be top, I think, at Christmas. Because City have a couple of tricky ones. They're away to Villa and they have Spurs at home, and Spurs always do well. I think you mentioned this with Brownie at the weekend, Dave. Spurs always do pretty well at City, and then Villa, they're playing Villa away. So we have a great chance of going into Christmas or the New Year. If not at the top, then definitely within a point or two, and all bets are off if we're in that position at the turn of the year. So I'm feeling really positive for the next few weeks. 8 games in 23 days, and we'll know a lot more between now and the end of the month as to what the season what the season is going to bring about for us. But I think it will start definitely at the weekend with a good win, and it'd be nice for Chris to get back and get to the ground and see us getting a few goals.
Nice. And I know, like, we often complain about the schedule and stuff, but 8 games in 23 days. It's exciting, isn't it? It's like exactly what you want, like this time of year. Like the games coming thick and fast, and there's not that much of a turnaround. And 2 days later, you're preparing for the next one, and it's exciting. And it's cool. And it's a fun time of year. So, you embrace it as much as you bemoan the schedules of having to play Wednesday in Sheffield and Saturday 12:30 in London. So, bring it on, and let's see where the chips fall come like New Year's Day. Eh?
Yep.
Definitely, and obviously that's in 3 separate competitions. We can kind of put the Europa League to the side now, as we've said, because it's a dead rubber, and the rest of the games are in the league. But we've also got between the United and Arsenal games that West Ham quarter final in the League Cup, and we win that, and we're just a couple of games away from Wembley. So,
when's that one? Between which games?
So we're playing United on the Sunday the 17th.
The midweek between United and Arsenal.
Yeah, and we're playing West Ham on the 20th, the Wednesday, and then Arsenal on the Saturday.
Right, okay.
So that's going to be a big week for rotation as well. Does he go strong against West Ham, given that there's a possible semi-final in the offing, or does he just concentrate on the Arsenal game at the weekend?
I think
the following weekend.
Go strong, because you've probably taken off like 5 of your main starters after like 55-60 minutes of the United game, so they should be fresh.
Oh man, yeah, good stuff. All right, either of you guys got anything more to add before we wrap this one up?
No, think we're
all good.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks, chaps. Another big win at Anfield for the boys tonight. A 4-0 win against LASK to secure top spot in the Europa League, getting a safe passage through to the group stages and a chance to rest some players for the final group game. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back on Sunday after the Fulham game, but until then, we'll catch you soon.
Well, the best word I can say, but will describe this, was boom. Woo, what was this? It was really good.